Welcome everyone. This is our MRS21 Fall 2021 test review videos, part 1, and we're going to be going over a few questions from a review sheet and all. Hopefully these videos are helpful to you when you study for your test for our exam coming up, right? So we start with our first question. What is the remainder when x cubed plus 5x squared minus 7x plus 3 is divided by x minus 4? All right, so a couple of things in this case. We're using what's called the remainder theorem. And the remainder theorem says that if we are going to divide a polynomial by another binomial in this case, what we can do is take the smaller term we're dividing by, this x minus 4, and we set this equal to 0. Okay, because so what happens is we're going to figure out whether or not, using our remainder theorem, whether or not x minus 4 divides evenly or not. If it divides evenly, what will happen is the following. When we solve for x, which in this case would be 4, we're going to take this number and plug it into the polynomial. If we get a 0, then x minus 4 divides evenly into the polynomial x cubed plus 5x squared minus 7x plus 3. If it does not equal 0, meaning after I plug in the 4 into the polynomial and it does not equal 0, then x minus 4 does not divide evenly, and the number we get is the remainder. Now this is a much faster way than doing long division. If you want long division, you can, but on the test you might have a limited amount of time, but it depends upon how quickly you can do the problem. So we're going to plug in our 4 here. So in this case, set the factor was 0, solve for x, and then plug in. So now we're going to plug in here the 4 to 4th to the 3rd plus 5 times 4 squared minus 7 times 4 plus 3. All right. Now you may use your calculator to find this information, but when you do, please make sure that you use parentheses around your number, okay? So let's evaluate. Now 4 to the 3rd is going to be 16, so 64, 64. 4 times 4 is 16, and times 4 is 64. 4 second power is 16, times 5 is 80. Negative 7 times 4 is minus 28, and plus 3. So it's definitely not looking like 0 here, but let's find the remainder. So now we're going to add the 64 plus the 80, and I believe we're going to get 144. So now let's subtract that by 28 because we do order operations. So 144 minus 28, that's going to be a 14 minus 8, should be a 6, right? And then this would be, in this case, now it's a 3 minus 2 is 116, right? And then plus 3, we're going to get a remainder of 119. So our remainder equals 119. And that's the answer. So again, what we're trying to do is to ask upon the remainder when we're doing this division. We don't have to do long division. We just set our factor equal to 0, solve for the x, plug that x value into the polynomial, and whatever number we get is our remainder. So definitely expect a question like this on our test. Question number 2. If the remainder is x cubed plus ax, if the remainder of when x cubed plus ax squared minus 5x plus 4 is divided by x minus 3 is 97, what is the value of a? Now this is using the remainder theorem, but it's a little bit different though. We still are going to take our factor x minus 3. We're still going to set equal to 0 and solve to get, in this case, our x value to be positive 3. And we're still going to plug in, except now, the word plug in whenever we see x. Whenever we see x is 3, so 3 to the cube plus now a times 3 squared minus 5 times 3 plus 4. But we're told the remainder is 97. Right, so this time around, we're not looking at the remainder. We already know what the remainder is, so it's what's going to equal this whole thing when I plug in x equals 3. But now we got to solve for a. So now what happens is we have 3 to the 3rd is 27. 3 squared is 9 times a is 9a minus 15 plus 4 equals 97. Okay, well, I'm going to combine like terms. So 27 minus 15 is going to be 12. And then add 4, 12 plus 4 is 16. So now I have 9a minus 16 equals 97. I'm going to add 16 to both sides. So 9a is equal to, that's a 3, carry the 1, 113. Is that correct? 113, yeah. Double check my math, because sometimes I make errors. You've seen my other videos and all, ladies and gentlemen, so I am not going to be saying that I make everything correct all the time. Okay, it looks okay. So now we're going to divide both sides by 9. Now this is a weird number, all right? So a equals 113 over 9, and this is totally okay to leave your answer in this form. All right, now some of you guys might go, oh, I use my calculator, find decimals. You know, it's fine, but the problem is repeating decimals is not going to be very pretty. So unless, you know, in this case, but this is totally good. You may leave it as an improper fraction. I'm okay with that, no. Okay, everybody? How's that? So yeah, not to panic when trying to find a. Just go through the same thing you normally do. You just set the factor equal to 0. You're going to solve for x, plug in the x value, but this time around, you know what the remainder is. They told you it's 97, so equal to 97. All right? Okay. Now for question number 3. What are the roots for the equation of 3x squared minus 8x equals negative 4? All right, so we're trying to solve a quadratic equation here. And in a quadratic equation, the very first step is always to set the equation equal to 0. And we always do this because of the fact that we want to make sure that we factor, when you multiply two numbers and you get 0, either the first number is 0 or the second number is 0, meaning the first factor is 0, the second factor is 0. You can't have it set to a non-zero number because it's really hard. So the very first thing we'll do in this situation for 3x squared minus 8x equals negative 4 is to add 4 to both sides. Whenever we try to solve a quadratic equation like this, we always want to keep whatever is squared, the variable squared, positive. It makes it easier for us to factor. So now we got to factor 3x squared minus ax plus 4. Now if you remember, when we factor a polynomial, or actually is a trinomial whose a value was quadratic in this case, whose a value is greater than 1, we want to list all the a, b, and c values because we need them to figure out how to factor. So the a value is 3 because the number multiplying x squared, the b value is negative 8, and our c value is 4. Now, in our rules of factoring these things, we're going to multiply a times c. So a times c is equal to 3 times 4, and that's equal to 12. And so now, well, how do we do this now? Well, our rule is going to be the following. We want to find two numbers that multiply to 12, but they're going to add to negative 8. Now I know you're saying, why not 3 and 4? Ooh, 3 and 4 don't add to 8. But instead, 6 and 2 do. So normally we would say 6 and 2, but positive 6 and positive 2 don't add to negative 8. Negative 6 and negative 2 adds to negative 8, and negative 6 and negative 2 multiply to positive 12. So those are the numbers we're going to use. Now, unlike we're doing factoring, unlike with factoring before, what we're going to do is we're going to, in this case, we're going to rewrite this negative 8 in the middle and rewrite it as the following. We're going to get 3x squared. Instead of negative 8, we're going to put in negative 6x minus 2x and then plus 4 equals 0. Because negative 8x is negative 6x minus 2x. Okay, so now why do this here? We're going to factor by grouping. Okay, so now we factor by grouping. What we do is the following. I'm going to group these two together and these two terms together and use the greatest common factor. So the greatest common factor between 3x squared and negative 6 is going to be 3x, leaving me with an x minus 2. Now I want the other, when I do greatest common factor and factor there, for the other pair, I want to leave with x minus 2. Now, if I use positive 2, it leaves me with a negative x plus 2. So instead, I want to factor out a negative 2. So what happens when I take out a negative 2 or divide both negative 2x and 4 by negative 2? Negative 2x divided by negative 2 is a positive x. And the 4 divided by negative 2 is negative 2. And you get 0. So now we do GCF, or greatest common factor, one more time, and we see in this case we'll have x minus 2 as our greatest common factor, leaving us with 3x minus 2 equal to 0. All right, so this is the factored form of 3x squared minus 8x plus 4. So what are we going to do here? All right, now we're going to set each of these factors equal to 0. That's one of the things we can do when you set the whole equation equal to 0. You can set each of the factors equal to 0. Well, for the first one, we're going to add 2 to both sides, and we get x equals 2. For the second one, we add 2 to both sides. You get 3x equals 2, divide both sides by 3, x equals 2/3. So our answers are x equals 2/3 or x equals 2. Okay? Let me make this full page to see everything here. Yeah, you definitely want to practice your factoring trinomials. Okay, so that's definitely something I want to recommend for our exam. All right, so and there's a video for that as well too, so definitely get a chance to watch that. No. All right, everybody, I hope this was helpful to you guys, and I will definitely continue with our review sheets. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like, and if you have not done so already, please subscribe to the channel and leave any comments or questions in the comment section below. All right. Hope you guys found this enjoyable, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, everyone. Be safe.